My
joining your
dad's
family?
had a big influence on my life. I think actually because he was so sick. Even though after I became an MP, when I talked to him, it's not like he could say very much, right? He would listen and just like when I told him I was going to run, I mean, he was quiet for a very long time, and then he said,
In a good way or a bad way? Not
I
good or
don't
bad,
know.
but was he like supportive or he was thinking about it?
Well,
Or-
he basically he was very quiet, and then he said, "Okay, try your best." Because my dad's always been, he's got his own view of what's right and wrong, very strong views. He doesn't necessarily agree with everything that the government does, So he. So I think he had to process it a little bit, but then he said, "Try your best." But I think even to this day, I still hear his voice a lot. He always had these little phrases. I call them Jaffarisms, right? And even the one that I remember forever is, once when I was really struggling with a really tough client at work, and I told him, I don't think I can do this anymore. And he said, he just said 5 words, right? If not you, then who? And that I think really got me to, okay, own the problem and eventually get out of it. And he's got, other things, right? Like he's always been, don't be a hypocrite,
So he just
don't
drops
do
these little like
don't do a
nuggets.
6:30 job, like a man's got to do what a man's got to do. So, like every time I have a few, decisions to make in my head, I actually often hear his voice and those few words that are just words, but ultimately they really help guide my what I do in life. Yeah.